Of I do see my guest is in the building. So the can have a part 2 of the last time conversation I have, things to do from Lamptey. Reverend Abraham Lamptey. And then they made phone I charging to me in kind Bible, Reverend. Hey, Reverend.
Stand back and take account.
My phone now, my Reverend what need my kind Bible, no. That just send me poem because Sunday school. I am a Reverend come on what dent in a besha sientem. Said the baby young come over more juicy, more just what I say. Come on, here double century yana time na so. It's a neddy, yes, sientem. Reverend Abraham Lamptey. Reverend, good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
Me pacha na bibia woko.
Adwuma.
Ide radiasi mo akwaba shunku biom. Esamba onua.
Thank you also for having me.
Last time me name listeners nyina ye ni je the topic, the analysis, the explanations, everything was on point. And then my said no. I say Reverend Sam Bebium for part 2.
Thank you.
Because empenatwe mu komo de make asama ye nyina eye de. And ye said Drew February morning the next say eye odoko de odowo. And into things to know before you walk down the aisle. And then I become wasemi. Last time my 3 things.
Yeah.
And now I say ne oba yebetwaso. Also to know yourself.
Yeah.
And answer cry you can Corinthians chapter 3 verse 60. First Corinthians
chapter 13.
Verse 4. Mekai verse 4. Love is not envy, love is
yes of over.
Me go your crime ko catch obi. Them no be didn't command or say what is love. Obi. Simple obi. Simple obi or social media.
I see.
Or social media. And I make sure you say. And I may say on First Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4.
Yeah.
And I could read yeah. And yes, you try on common of free because the love topic and I am broad. And most of the time, so na you misinterpret. Na ye the adwene kire but obetia see how to me say to be in a relationship you have to compromise a lot.
Yeah.
Sanity.
You don't compromise to be a fool.
Mentiasia.
Yeah. Also sometimes no in compromising no. Enquire ne sebi Jimmy. You compromise in wisdom.
That's a compromise.
Yes. Because the foundation itself, papa. That is it. A bema who sell a sikanti and a brebre who was in Yamana. That is where the danger is. And in compromising, you need to check whether we compromise in wisdom. And now we'll compromise in foolishness.
Not just say, WOHO to many baby be a scour no a date and I say co relationship.
Yeah.
I dear be a bear man, I am causing a booth for wasn't called China General.
Yeah.
See, can be a ordinary was a better no.
But Ebia was uncle, then the tenacity comb. Oh, middle. And it is one thing to talk at and another thing to talk to.
Address and attacking.
What he has here. And and print P, because you are compromising in foolishness, you'll be talked at. But if you are compromising in wisdom, you just say, Nano yina we but we am in pay, we am kunui, mean to me and count wasem or bedroom. Now, one challenge I have with young ladies of today is they lack the sense of correct timing.
Let's just be a dear young who time my year
Esefata say
or addressing.
Or connotia dear no dear betano.
No more to.
Okono is having challenges, no dear becaho. If you know how to crocro, back it to a bema. That is how you should see your husband. Let me tell you something. Every man, whether married or about to marry, is the woman's firstborn baby boy. It doesn't matter how gray your beard look. Unless you have stopped breastfeeding. But if you are still breastfeeding, you're a baby boy. And we need to have this understanding. Say, Enkos is saying, we are my dear. We are opano. You see, like I said last week, women do not know. Forgive me, I've had some health issue with my voice, my throat. Women don't know the power they have. That's why they want to be on the same level with the men. But if women did, they will discover the weapon in submission and control, the loving.
Okay, you to me crying now.
Yeah.
And can to your once and can impress any member be the same height.
Yeah.
You know more
what
rubbing shoulders women can do.
It's a wrong notion. So if you watch lately, we are having a lot of feminist actions. And they are losing their value.
Because they want to be like the men.
Something you are bigger than. Why do you want to be like it? Something you are greater than. Why do you want to be like that? Something you are wiser than.
Why do you want to be like that?
That's it.
I said we are competing with the wrong.
Lack of self-discovery is the reason. So if women will discover who they really are, they'll see men as their baby boys.
Oh, but they now discover who you really are.
When you stop looking around in search of things that are not supposed to be yours.
When you stop looking for things
that are not supposed to be yours. Now watch it. Rahel in the Bible, a very beautiful lady. According to Bible, you can't look into her eyes twice. You will melt. The purity in her eyes alone. But Rahel was not going about looking for men.
No, yeah, or shedding.
She was a shepherd.
No, here so.
Yeah. Her beauty did not deceive her.
When you know fetchy.
Eyanidia. Or tonga yedeng. Come on, don't let me go there.
Let's just say.
When you sell your beauty, when you place value on your beauty, it devalues.
Reverend, at the end of Bibaya Betcha said she's selling her beauty.
Recently, I was talking to a young lady and she told me, you use what you have to get what you want.
What did the old Benyani pay?
Yeah. Your beauty would let you look at a gentleman and say, you are not my class. But do you determine who should be your lecturer?
No.
Thank you.
David.
So even if he is not your class, you are in the lecturing hall. And you can't tell. I remember some years back, I proposed to a lady and she looked at me and said, a prison officer, did you check yourself before coming to me?
Not a prison officer?
Yeah. I worked with Ghana Prison Service as an officer, not as a prisoner.
Okay.
For 10 years.
You were in the service for 10 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I came out honorably, not.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was talking to her. She said, excuse me, did you check your class?
And you're tip enemy.
Thank you, because the cost of the wig, the cost
it
of
could be a mesrebi.
The color pencil, the crayon, or the iron,
yeah,
and those things. And when that becomes your worth, you become buyable.
Not just so Obia won't say then deserve cry because the person can afford these things, you know. No, Baba
because to her, her class should be somebody with money to buy.
Who should be able to afford things she
not
wants.
Afford,
buy.
So I was like, wow, okay, sorry. Let me go back and check myself. Today, she sees me.
What's that shiny beam?
Oh yeah, still not married. The value is no more the same. There's a depreciation.
The class is no more classing.
The CD and the dollar, you know, the fundamentals has exposed her. And I think
life has hit her.
Thank you. I think about 2 months ago, that was in November, I went to preach somewhere. And when I was through, the head pastor in his office told me somebody was looking for me. And she was the one. Oh, hello, Apostle. How are you doing? Forgive me, but the horns of me so me kuntani no back.
Exactly, because when you're in classes,
thank you.
You are not.
So So me cross me na. Oh, hello, how are you? How are you doing? And how is your husband? Oh, Apostle, I'm not married. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, nice meeting you. That was the end. So
One to uncle mono so one man
no. When I was leaving, then I put some money in an envelope. I gave to one of my gentlemen.
To give it to her.
And I said, go give it to her.
What for money directly?
No. I don't
the class.
I don't want to. You know, and that has, you know, as we speak,
decisions we are taking.
Thank you, because they were looking at themselves now. I told you last week, so we live in times that young girls are looking for men who can last 2 hours in bed.
Yeah,
but they are not ready to last 2 years with a guy to break through.
No.
And it's not about how long you last in bed, but how well you live life. So a whole lot of the society we have today is being destroyed more or less by social media.
Social media, mom.
Yes.
How?
Because on say, we call Facebook, we call Instagram, or the what have you.
Yeah.
What the person, even some who have never been to school, counseling people how to be in marriage, and they are not even in a relationship. They are not even consistent in their relationships, and they are counseling you. At the end of the day, with relationship more, it will be a mess.
And fit it doesn't fit.
Mide kwabna, obi di kwajo, obi di ya, obi di yokia. No two marriages are the same. And they say, would you be a warrior at a 2 dear one? When I got married, most of my wife's friends were laughing at her.
I didn't hear.
Because where she's coming from, she's no money. And she's coming to a prisons officer who is living in a chamber and hall, you know. But I told her one thing. I remember, I think, you know, I met my wife and within 3 months we were married.
Now you knew she was going to be your wife?
Yes.
3 months?
Yes.
1 year, 6 months.
Recipe for fornication. Thank you.
Not just a more 6 months and now 1 year.
To draw ni janko. You see, let's call a spade a spade.
Hey, what the minimum for buy the pa? This topic is really
to draw
nice.
Any junk. Marriage, prayer does not make marriage. It sustains the marriage. What you need is the determination. Obi abejia tumuse emfa huni ni ebesi. Yebema wadi akoyi. And when you both play your roles correctly, you win. I'm not saying that we've not had challenges. Minister of Mami, and Opekra, ya argue, yoku and sameba. But they are spices. Now, why will you court for 3, 4, 5 years?
7, 8, 9 years.
What are you looking for?
Reverend.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
In every courtship, there is a hidden attitude you will never discover until you marry.
Until you never get to know the person enough.
Not enough. You never get to know the person. I'm telling you this today.
Say Mr. Dino.
Who's study wine?
Mr. Dino, me heard Suban ye pa Mr. Dino.
Esonum panatwemo suban. Enya the same. And esono awadiye mo suban. Who kind Bible now? God said, and God brought everything he has created to the man. And the man named them. Then God saw that the man was alone, and it was not good for the man to be alone. So let's make unto the man a help meet, not a lover. Not a lover. So marriage should not first be based on love. Do you need me? Do I need you?
No. I was saying, door, na me here.
Won't to quite a car with name or coin, won't pay car now, so as I say, no, do back on into its name.
Did the crown and what dinner?
Thank you, but what name?
Yes.
So, and you a son need and a son love. They are not the same.
And the demoralizing they say, so when you're snacka now won't pay musuna, or real crayfish and I won't pay.
Because why do you need that baby? Thank you. So the vision makes you aware of what you need to get there. Will this man take me there? Will this woman take me there? Not will he satisfy me in bed, unless your need is, excuse my language, sex.
Hey.
And you've not told me you love me. No, I may not tell you I love you.
Why?
Because I need you.
There be also catch me say I love you. Na matenase say no bra you see na ni Jimmy ho. Intimate tenase atwen no.
Define the love you read again in 1 Corinthians 13.
Reverend Emily for charge.
Jimmy Diano. Jimmy phone. So we can't say any me buy. Me family Diano now. Why? 1 Corinthians chapter. Hey, why you Barbara no cry? I just got it.
Next time you have me the member we free about.
1 Corinthians chapter 13.
I think what you need in America I will say hi on your 95.1 FM. And Reverend Abraham Lamptey and I actually come on. Things to know before you say I do. Near me what say we ye and son work as a soft for you. Me peneso.
1 Corinthians.
Part 2 of the conversation 13:4. Love never gives up.
Okay.
Love cares more for others than for self.
Thank you.
Love doesn't want what it doesn't have.
Thank you.
Love doesn't want what it doesn't have.
That's right. Covet.
Love doesn't want odo empe die enya. Ana odo hia die empe.
Odo penny ehia no.
Ehia no.
Need. Now, it's not good for the man to be alone. He needs someone, not he loves someone.
Oh, here will be.
Thank you. So that's
the ope will be.
Debbie.
Oh, do you need me to be in your life?
Thank you. Any woman, any young lady who will ask a gentleman this question,
they don't understand. They don't want to understand.
He will go back and go and think. Immediately you have proven to him you are matured and you know what you are about.
Do you need me in your life?
And when he says yes, you ask, what do you see in me that can solve that need?
I want to try and draw.
Maybe. Muna mumie trabuntro. Se u kanyansa semwa. Or the adrenaline neba wonchain.
Yes, assem.
Ebina making. Do you need me?
Do you need me in your life? Do you need me?
Not whether the person wears cologne perfume.
Do you need me?
Or a designer clothing.
Okay.
Or driving a Porsche car.
Debbie.
Because ebi ane wuja dia. Do you need me?
Do you need me?
Do you need me?
Valde ebei. And son abeje flower no.
Do
you need me?
If you look more edible than what you are selling, customers will feed on you and leave your product.
If you look more edible than what you are selling,
yeah,
customers will feed on you and not your product.
Thank you.
That's just so.
Wo tongue adie no.
Wo kono che nema na wo ton no.
Adie na nipa no beto.
What did no kwa wanhwe?
Na wo ka kire wo say you are buyable.
I say obi o ton plantain chips wo lorry kwa mu a wa che adie yin so yin round na ne ka no to ate kakra.
Thank you. 80% of them beto adie na nyina they after you.
Omo and obi o ha ne ka na to ahye o che ne pants kala na te.
Thank you.
And wo so no to.
Thank you. So how are they packaging themselves? How are you packaging? You see, men naturally they use usable things and keepable things.
This is deep.
Yeah. If you make yourself usable, you be useful near dampo.
If you no my reverend, if you hire ye who usable, but still I will use it. What is the secret?
If you are not usable, what are you doing in the market? You see then adipa.
And a ton.
And when a panso dear.
And kasa.
May that see. Let me ask you a question. I know we are on another radio station.
Yes.
Despite Babemano.
Yeah.
Girl no worry no.
Aye.
Do you think if she has all those kind of pictures and things on social media, and will be in family to abundant? How come nobody could get something of that nature?
They have a lot to lose.
It doesn't even matter if you don't package yourself. You can't find yourself on the dining table of a millionaire or the palace. And sometimes the competitive atmosphere pushes so many innocent young women into the wrong places. Me pese me ni almost say. Yes, no.
Undru yet.
The Peter.
In true mikasa.
The Peter. Say, I mean, I am somebody that I'm very, very social. And you will not find me being pompous and what have you. I'm always down there. So I hear, I listen, and I associate. And sometimes and it's not their fault.
Pressure no.
And I'm yet also being also any pressure. We live in a society that fathers are always not there for daughters to feel safe. So they look for that paternal safety in the bosom of men who end up taking advantage.
Oh.
And and yet bia ubetumi aka se abayo anom fomso ana brantie no so fomso.
When ye jama na no said your person you don't know.
That is it.
Inti so shabe mu abia.
I made such mistakes. And sometimes I sit and I cry alone. Because in my desperation to build a ministry, I wasn't there for my daughters. Things I should do, conversations, the kind of rapport, just say ayonkufa was a
jane obanya no
depi. And in your big nature because so for bana.
Oh yes,
and so no nemu say
binti
na man basa. So at the end of the day, no. You I remember one of my service days, I openly, before I saw Remanyina, apologized to my daughters. And I told them I'm sorry. When him say, when society becomes all about money, life loses its value. Watch it, and a baby of the every young girl you see, and I pay me by Daily Graphic, my name so wakaya, the statistics. Promiscuity, you see, is it 70-something% of those between 15 to 29 years are going out with not less than 2 men.
Will be two.
Minimum 2. The nation said 2 upwards. 75. Is it not dangerous?
It's dangerous.
What kind of foundation I will lay? So even when they grow and they marry, they will not be scared of going outside their matrimonial home. We have a lot to do as a nation. Yeah, desperation to marry. You focus on acquisition of wisdom. Marriage is not a condition to heaven, but it can take you to hell.
They say before you say I do.
Yeah. And Yamabi WOHO, I was saying, before you say I do you do to yourself? Do you love yourself enough? Do you really?
Do you respect yourself?
Thank you. How do you relate to your neighbor? What do you see in your brother? And one thing I'm going to say, I said it last week, I'm repeating. A single mother raises the son in the image of the husband she wished she had. And in the Banu warrior, he behaves like the mother's husband, not the wife's husband. So you, the wife, you don't immediately have to behave like a wife.
You have to be like
behave
a mother.
Like a mother to win him to be a husband. So, and secondly, we live in times also that the elderly women are having challenges counseling the young ladies. Because And they do it to intimidate the elderly women. So the elderly women don't want to counsel the young ones. They want to be like them. A man penning for nyaya and come here mayoa. Because a mayoa na yama wonga ferisa wongenyi. But with the elderly men, they don't have a challenge because they see potential men in the young men. So they are always available to counsel them. Almost na yebra wongwa wonguntie. And there has to, you see, it's okay to copy, but we must copy right.
It's okay to copy,
but we must copy right. So as we copy, why get rid of some traditional things that sustained the positive mindset? Depi siatra. O kaseka tekino. O ofeni chanlo. No fiano ni yo na kuchumie kabato. Unandong. So I was say yes, you know, when growing up, school be our badge. Jesus for music crest, yeah, friend of badge. And to pet unem school are all. Sabafrana misbehave or chrome out to make school no report no. And that child will be disciplined. Or Befi and Sua, the parents will also discipline. When growing up, parents wouldn't follow their children to school to go beat teachers. So we had good leaders. Yes, we brought in the Western doctrines that does not conform with our African tradition. There are so many things from the Western world that cannot be practiced here. But what are you watching? Obikura called Wune Mawa Bruchrea. Oko Wune Mawa Bruchrea. Oko Wune Mawa Bruchrea. Omo Bagana. Shewa Musubai. You're talking about Ghana for. So when you come and leave them here, they struggle to belong to the society. But China and Latin America, 1,000 years, they will never lose their tradition and their culture. Thank you. So it is not the thing is a rooted thing. A wo baby a free. Na say anya potre ansha si amra betiti yema na wofo enika. And when law begins to raise children, parents will lose the authority to bring up the children.
Because all you be about reporting. They say no shade ni say e wa abofra so.
Me da say. Love is not supposed to be the first thing. Love is not supposed to be the first thing. Now let me ask you a question, my darling. Who you must be in life? Is it dependent on marriage?
No.
Thank you.
Debbie.
Thank you.
A
wise man, a real man, will not marry a woman who does not know what she is about, but will use a woman who knows what she has. Don't repeat it. It's only for the two of you.
Me repeat it.
A real man will treasure the woman who knows what she's about. On them say, Obra me boy, Winty, and I me bossabra. Obewaro Sisia.
On 7 years, no. On 12 years.
Tepid. I met my wife. And when I even met her, by then she was working with City Postals. Yeah, I think it should be City Postals or as an Adabraka. And then I walked to her straight. And when I was outside, that is when I wasn't a believer. But when I became born again, so I know she's listening. I just walked to her and I said, "Good evening, sister." She said, "Good evening." She knew me, but I didn't know her. I just saw her, and then I did a clicky, and I want to marry you. Will you marry me? Whether I grow and you grow, Maka, I want to marry you. And it was at the church premise. I saw down on my cancer. I want to marry you. Will you marry me? She just looked at me and said, "Are you my type?"
And also the same thing.
Okay, the same thing, and I walked away.
Now what's your uniform, Nana?
I was wearing prison's uniform. My top no.
Nada na ye bia ko ko ye ya wo hye itade koi.
Ada na me didn't near me your besio.
Ebesie.
Why is it written say Christo ne ba and some fata so beton house akoko?
Ntro ne bebia.
Sa. Why is it written say Christo ne ba etumi ton fula?
Ntro ye.
Sa. Enti Christo ne aba yo atumi ton fula. Otumi ton house akoko. Otumi ton wachi. Nanso on ferry otumi ni young guys ekoko. Ewo young girl mu food later ana I shit to watch hu. I shit to yin so worry. And the young boy now will target him on also pay industrious woman a no. She will set the guy and you lose him. So then you will end up using your body to catch him. He will use his brain to go for Aisha too. And ye. She said, are you my type? I said, wow, okay. And then I went home. I prayed, Lord, if you lied to me, then fine. 3 days later, I had a phone call from her. Bri Brown, what you said? Achi. Immediately she accepted. It was I think it was a Friday. And that Friday we were having miracle service. Mango, sorry. Means na may worship. Mango. No, na means me feel big kakra. Me buy an house me type. So I think it was in the middle of the service and frame me. Brian Bram, you didn't come to church, and I'm saying, fine, now I catch up. And I'm saying, I'm not feeling well. I say, should I come say here to draw ni janka? And me, even when I was in the world, a lady will never visit me and go home the same day. You sleep over. Even when you come in the morning, you will stay and sleep over. And to me, Pacho, Emma.
That's your principle, no?
That was my principle then. I mean, to me, Kasama be a Christian, I am completely delivered.
Debbie.
That is the deception. Just why you're born again until you live a hypocritical life. It's a process for you to overcome who you were to become who He wants you to be. And Mama Namba. Then Sunday, I went to church. That Sunday, Nanam then Kochre and Sofa Penny, Apostle General, Sam Crunchy and Gra. And I said, Poppy, that's the woman. He was shocked. And Poppy, can we take the forms?
Yes, I want I already saw no.
Why bring her in if that is not what I want? That is it.
Not just say before so no friend we cannot decide that. So finally, this is the person I want to settle with.
That is it. So by the time you get married, you have a lot of baggages. And it's advisable to marry young. What do you say? And you know, within 3 months we were married.
Or China or from say.
You keep committing mistakes and errors. And by the time you marry, you have a lot of when you're about 30 in your bag. You can imagine going to a party and you have about 8 ladies seated there. What is special about you in the presence of those ladies? Thank you. And you know, and what we are sharing here, nemo can once me this year yanya a one from swaya from ye maybe atremo. And ye de two for senior beya wunya won't kotosa munemupium and no say a kron. Yet near yasiano, you know, education is what remains after all that has been learned is forgotten. And in yakano, and ye de two. Within 3 months, we were married, and we've been married for 26 years.
I say, who should they hear so many will be for longer periods? And no just say our individual and I say,
Sukukura, you're corner for how many years? Sukukura. Lego watch 7 years, say a medicine.
Now, what's your double swing in every you? No, Josette.
I shall say, you work it. When you'll be Baba, when you'll be Baba. She shall 6, 7, 8 years. A Diana, when you'll be a was soon, or see with them. A DMP, I will pay on.
When you're away.
A big radi a wabam, grand so still certificate. And you know, before you say I do, you should know if you need the man and where do you fit in his vision. And like I said, Bema almost say, Uma me what to say, Papa what to say, wouldn't you no more? a man that is not too focused on his family is a man you should be careful when.
Reverend, obi so asem no peke boy se concerning or pass someone kasa pe de wo busu amati.
Bema oye concerning no obehu no enye wabusua a obusa se wo ho te sen. Ena ebe mu ho no so oye concerning. No ni fio sabe. Kokala yuesh komeshi enyo shi etan bale. Bema oye concerning oh jai. Obeti wona fofo ho ansem kra be ka kire. Wa omo ye wona fofo no po wunti. Na mema kongosa fo wom.
Kongosa fo.
Bema. Hey. Bema de kongosa de be. See. Wow, that's news. Now no mo ye say Bema o ye kongosa de.
Say be na so beti esama be bo.
Anyway, yeah. Because it's kind of strange. But idea back when here, Pana said the young ladies of today should be up and doing.
In Pebibinye.
Yeah. Skawokrumo. So much to do. And the social media. Instead of taking your face pictures and your, excuse my language, your bike side and what have you, no. Get something to. Uko katumantoa. Kochuchantadi be pictures. Maybe we are graduates, but when you're Jumanyo, and your friends keeps telling you, say, my dear Charlie, last Nkrumah, you know, we are, you fine, pop, especially Benkuna or the count. They are telling you something.
No, Johnny.
Start doing it. And you know, how do you say sacrifice in Chi Afa? To one share.
They will sacrifice for dear or for bon for you.
Now offering so. To hoche
sacrifice.
And you know, if you don't sacrifice, if you do not sacrifice, the gains will not be treasured. Any gain you obtain out of sacrifice, you treasure it. But emfasobia obenya 1 2 1 chance awunya no. Emfanshira bi amre. Enti no say wonamfofo ma won say won aduane an ye kama. Why don't you go there? Enya ahyase na na be ye boom.
Ye be kaka.
But wo dey ye be 15 bi. Come ministries, see who kama. Just go give it to people and then add your call card. This is what I do. Please taste it and call me and give me a feedback. One time, Maomo.
What a chow.
Taste it and give me a feedback. At least so you're 15 now, when you're 8 and now 10. Who will call you? And when they call you, you tell them, well, that's what I do. If you have any friend who needs the services, I can bring it to your office. I can come cook it for you on Saturday, so you keep the stew in your fridge and what have you. You started something.
Very true, pal. Reverend, also we share as of mommy within 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm worried.
Yeah.
Obi share will be within 3 months. Now I'm more worried about engine. Into dear now more year and Obi so share will be like commodity bear 6-7 years. They are still married.
Who worry 3 months engine, but I bent now worry. That is it. When I share also worry. Did you marry because of her buttocks? Did you marry? What did you see in her? What you see? Because yeah, worry chino. I think the fourth year, and as of my meaning, I down for because I no catch them. The first day of bar, sorry, and I'm in lady worship. She felt within her that this is your husband. But I am a slim, and you know my see I'm a chin in she kamai. A shoe, papa. A shoe, where do a shoe? A shoe, means some style, no. Ah, also see me, I mean some year tiansing. So, I know Katrina Danfon said when she came, that was what she felt in her spirit. But it's no, one, pencrane. 2, a slim. 3, he is not, 2 weeks later, and I'm a Shian and I'm a Katrina, I want to marry her.
This is the edge in a bem.
But she rejected it in her mind and also rejected it in the physical. I don't know what happened. And actually, no. Or can I say, Wajiatum? And then before you marry, did you pray? And did you pray? I thought that would be because me born pie and answer my tissue, my own tree, because who presented with picture manyame. One manyame present. We have the permissive will of God and the perfect will of God. That's of one etihono. We have the permissive will of God, and you wash nyame no say okay koye. And the perfect will of God and you no beka say ye way. What you say? Sometimes the kind of woman you want is not what God wants you to have.
O present me no manyame na o ka so yi ba ko e.
I don't know who presented me. Now, now, or noon, your what the mountains were better, so I am yes. You are confused. He will not answer you.
Obi say, Ope Obia, but some pioneer me enter home.
Madam for software be your Bible college now. No need Lady Bishop. That didn't hear fine. I am saying me by crowd is our testimony in that. And then we graduated. We were even. Yeah, you graduated and Chebiano Wari. So all of us went and they had their wedding. The night of their wedding. Now, before I say that, let me ask, why take your marriage, why consummate your marriage in a hotel room on a bed that might have been defiled? What is the wisdom in it?
Honeymoon, no.
Yes. Are you not polluting your marriage before you started? Think. What are you doing in a hotel room? Why don't you start the marriage in your home? Actually, and then you go. Why are we copying wrong? It's a spiritual thing. And you never mama Adwuma kodwin.
Papa.
Why you wedding you know? Now the awadi no ko hotel room. No shama what they are saying. Would you go hotel room for honeymoon? And panel might have been defiled. Whether the bed sheet is new or not, it has been used before. Bring your woman home. Enjoy your thing at home. Start your marriage at home. Maybe 3, 4, 5 months later, you can take a week and go have some fun somewhere. But why Muslims don't do that?
Wedding night, nah.
They don't do that. Oh yeah, I wouldn't yape. Amariano yadeneko. Bemanifie. So do you see where we get it all wrong? We Christians, we overcopy. We overcopy. Ushakura nan say, yeah, sorry. If you don't look American, they won't come to your church. If you don't sing American, to say yes, you're American. And to eya monzuro menye na ya monzuro eya oma obeka say wa sorry ye krasif wa sorry. So that is where we're getting it all wrong. So let me coming back to your question. So what you have to do is that make sure say wa bom paye ready, lead me, and he will lead you. And you will pay.
95.1.
Let your will, the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth.
Whose will?
Thy.
Whose will?
Thy.
And your will.
No.
Thank you. So who's your no nyanko pondia? Ma ono ne wokai. Non chero se komena kobro news. E to da kura na oba look etiefo mo fa me boni cheme. Ma ho oba sebi impredias. Nenem te se me feast ya bono duku. Nanso bema e ware no because the man was led to her. He has broken through big time and still with the wife. Now wo mo mano miensa no mienu se omo maame
asema
ba kupe yet bema no hunu oba na anim ohunu nyame achede what in the image. And like I was telling you, Rachel was a beautiful lady, but she wasn't selling her looks.
She was selling her product.
Thank you. She sold her product to the point say be my Jacob any name Jacob say shallow we dear say 14 years a cry mesum. It doesn't matter if you know your worth, age, will never stop your progress. If you know your worth. And me say mo abotre and pray. 1 or 2 sanyo no pray. Onko call Lego go take.
Reverend.
Yeah. Musubano no.
Reverend.
Okay.
If say nyame, if the Lord's will is somebody's husband,
how can God give you somebody's husband as a will?
Thy will.
The Bible is saying, how do you know it's a will? Who can't Bible no sana will not here? Who can't Bible no will no see or the obiku no bema?
There be said.
Medase. Nyame fapam e ya nasem. Ni enni nasem no emfanto no so. Medase. Until the will, his will. But wa onyum na ma ompre.
Me opiem ne nto wo pre no nyum no so. Reverend Abraham Lamptey ando say wo pre. Na just say girls no boys ye pre ankasa. Me ba cho so 40 years kosoro. Na so hu simsims we wo ni padua mu a. Na wo de American Tentepa ko health center. Ya kwa hwe o. Na so doctor ka che o say bibia anye wo a. Afa do didi na wada. Se wo Johnson asabi hu moja wo Johnson mu a. Mema asem na make yo mema asem. Enyo baby obi akwa fefe wa je se o je nye noa. Mema wo 40 kosoro. Unim so obi ambutu be mem. Na so Johnson asabi moja free mu ba. Oni oba hye ma ensu obeba na moja asabi edi akire. Sounds na wo erectile dysfunctioning. Anasa osotia neti unim de ye didi na wudidi batosotia neti a na me kire o say ye signs and symptoms of prostate cancer. Institute Chumika health center bi eben bia
or the PPI
na ye your prostate specific antigen ni bi online na prostate cancer test no
we do it
ye hwe say wo eye okay ana sa obehia yaresa ye hu ne ntama na etume so ano ti sesi ya wo hu sa symptoms we no wadaroma tutrumi kan ko ho sesi a Real Men Act and your test you what I say. And then so me interview me Reverend Abraham Lamptey and a bon komo. And you me a boy a special request from Reverend. And my young girl singing na Reverend. Omo po you ya dia. Me say man e mema nyina, ye nyina ye ne mema no. Ye nyina ye pre, ye nyina. Let thy will be done. Ye ma nyankopon in this hide ma yen. Ni enja say ye present e mema ye pe. Emera de se chinchina wonchu su ba ko maye no. Reverend. We shouldn't present things to God to choose for us. We should let him choose for us himself.
That's it.
That's it. Reverend, any idea conversation no? ABC. One worry.
Oh, Chende.
Just say produce and worry.
Worry.
Minyan worry.
Mo Chende.
Media manyame. Me so onyi back onye mame. Me se nyame inside.
Nana. Worry. Oh, Chende.
Ono kwa do sani ge. Me kwa dem boys me nsa me hwem. Me kwa ni mu chen na kwa me.
Eno mpo na be confuse mo.
Enam de myself me de marry de so onyi back mame.
Odi me nsa na nyina na amanyame. So onyi bie back.
Ono no nim de ye mame. Into onyi.
No nim de ye ma wo no. Wan ko na ni mankotwe. Ebia ne ye ma wo no odi abawo. Odi abrewo. But ensem fata enfiti into spec no. Like I was telling you, soft mommy had her spec. But at the end of the day, she took what God gave her. And the friends that mocked her are now saying congratulations for making the right choice. Nyame onfa ne wonya yanka wo pe emreo. He supplies our needs. Bako de for obema yan description, mama description de
so o say ebi ene nyame present na me chese ba ku ya me nyini je na no no nyame present ene me
nyame na present
David ebe ndi on fa mama
ana wana
so no so buy and I said many new. They said the many new on Yamina the mammy.
Also polish presentation. Nyamina de ma wa na mo na mo share wo shukura. And I just say move be wo Kaneshi first light. Afi mu ben circle aba kandano na say back far right Echo Ridge Hospital then also.
Yeah, continue different way.
And nyamia.
Ni so no ne buy. Na se senye de won pena.
Psalm 40.
Reverend
Nana to Bible beto ha mama be why. Because obeyers of mommy one of these days. Psalm 40.
Eti for yemre na aso me kan quotation last one na je say yakra mo.
Misremu amunya abotre mai.
Psalm 40. We be odi so na wa kan fi ansa na wa kan me dey.
This is Psalm
40.
And this is 40.
Psalm 40.
Woni mnyum no kra. E dia yanyum. Ma twanga wurade anim. Kwa brana so ase. Tie me Bible. Kan
I waited and waited and waited for God. At last he looked. Finally he listened.
Good. I did what? Waited how many times?
I waited, waited and waited.
And how say Dudu say now the actually nyame no.
Miensa.
And no yeah day. After miensa no, and no tie o. Nti afa no de ne die ba.
And then you move back o.
Ane na sa nyemu ba ko no no ade ne die bre won so.
E bia na me hu se no because na nye de me.
And ye bompa ye ma wakuma endi na sem na chi.
Let's say minja wo mo ne nyame na afọ mo mra.
Na sa wujai na nyame che a ubehwehwe ma chi aka se of what ada. Ana ubekoso aso na asem no mo.
Ubekoso aso na asem.
Nyame nhira. The next time I see you, tell me God has spoken. And please don't be moved by the light-skinned one, though he speaks soft and has a nice beard.
Hey.
Don't get carried away by him.
Hey.
I just wrote him off out of the three. I think you have.
But I show your friend, please, yourself.
Onua 95.1 FM. Yeah, Junimo.